Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hayden's Happy Hour. I'm joined today by an old friend from high school. He's an up and coming basketball player. He's looking to play pro in Europe, and I'm really excited to have him on the show to talk about his new company, Be Great, and talk about inspiration and what Be Great means. Welcome, Chris Cook, to the show.
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm thankful that wanted me to be a guest on the show. So I'm super grateful for this opportunity, and let's bring some inspiration to the world.
I know I really admire the idea behind your company. So to start out here, tell me about Be Great. What's the mission?
So Be Great's mission, man, is like I want it to be a platform where people can see the greatness within themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's easy for us to pick greatness and see greatness in everybody else, but I want Be Great to be where people can say, "Oh man, I see that greatness within myself." You know what I'm saying? I want people to be able to look in the mirror and say, like, I am great, So that's my whole mission, man. I kind of got it broken down into three phases. So, the first phase is the podcast, just getting guests on there. They come on, they tell their stories and they talk about, being an inspiration, just and the way that they develop greatness within themselves. And greatness doesn't have to mean success and material things. So I want people to understand that too, also, so just that's phase one is just the podcast. And then phase two is kind of like, I want people that's my guest. I want them to become mentors to like a child in a high school or something. Okay. And then as that comes on, that's phase two. And then just continue to grow as that. And then phase three for Be Great is broken down into a nonprofit. I want to send kids to college, or I want to help them whatever financially behind a trade or whatever they want to do. I want to be the program that helps kids go to college. So that's Be Great, man. It's just, sharing love and sharing inspiration and just helping people see the greatness within themselves. I mean, the merch is cool, but man, it's all about here. I want to get into people's, mindsets. So that's Be Great.
That's awesome, man. So it sounds like you kind of molded the nonprofit idea with something like Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Yep. Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do, man. So I'm trying to get to the point where after I get from the big brother, big sister program, like I want to kind of already flow in the next few years. I want to start like an after school program.
Okay.
So yeah, so we can just start building kids into this Be Great after school program and start helping them develop social skills, communication skills, just all the skills that you need in order to not even go to high school, just to, be successful in life. And success, like I said, doesn't have to mean money. But
so what's your definition of success then? Since for you, it's not about the material stuff. What's success for you?
So success for me would be, if it's not about material things, success to me is helping others. Mm-hmm. And that's always been my definition. If I can help someone become greater within themselves, I think I just did a hell of a job.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like I can give you the world and give you everything, but if you're not happy within yourself and loving yourself, what did I do? Mm-hmm. I didn't help you become better anyway. So my goal, man, is like I want to leave the world and impact the world as much as I can, and I feel like the people that truly believe that they can change the world are the ones that do it.
Yeah. Is there any people specifically that inspired you to start this company or this nonprofit?
I would probably say, man, see, for me, my story's a little different, man. I had seizures as a kid. And so, yeah, I grew up as seizures. And, man, it was just like the kids, it's like, because I used to have to go to language arts classes. And if people don't know what that is, it's like a class where you go and learn how to speak and learn how to talk and, say your syllables and all that stuff. And it's more complex, so that definition is not very specific. But, yeah, man, I think for me, it was seeing those kids in there with me. You know what I'm saying? And seeing that these kids are, just because we're in this class together and we have a learning disability doesn't mean that we're not as capable and can be as great as anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So Be Great, man. I actually thought about it in high school. Yeah. Because I always, you remember me, man. I wanted to be friends with everybody. And it was like, I wanted everybody to feel loved.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So Be Great, man. That's what it became. I wanted everybody to feel loved. And I want people to feel appreciated. I want people to feel valued. So Be Great was a thing, man, where I'm like, dude, let's take this shit to the next level and take it to the point where it's about helping people.
Yeah. I remember in high school, to make it a little personal, I remember you were a senior and I was a sophomore, and you were on the basketball team, and I was, scrawny little kid. And I remember you were dunking, and I remember like we would have these assemblies where they would have the basketball players go up and do like trick dunks. And I remember I went up and talked to you, and I was expecting you to be like, get the heck out of here. What the hell are you talking to me for? And you just were like, get over here, and you like showed me like, this is what you got to do if you want to dunk a basketball, and you like inspired me to stick with that. And I remember for 3 years I tried to dunk a basketball, and I did it one time.
Hey, let's go.
But that's like, you put it into action before you even had the company.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, I think it really happened, man, after I got held back. A lot of people don't know this, but I was supposed to graduate in like 2018. Well, I was supposed to graduate high school in 2013, but I got held back in first grade. And that's where the inspiration came from, Hayden. I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. It was always a mission for me. Like, you're not bigger than life. You know what I'm saying? That's what I kept telling, because I've almost, died multiple times. So it's like, for me, it was more of like, dude, you're not bigger than life. And when you ran up, I'm like, hell, like, this is cool. Like, someone's asking me how to dunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is super cool. So for me, man, it was all about just, I don't know, man. My parents just raised me to be humble, man. And, just thank God that you even have the things that you do have. And it's not even material things. Just like, I got a roof over my head. Like, we're doing a podcast. Like, I have a MacBook. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, for me, it was cool when you came up. I was like, I don't even know who this kid is, but hey, cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing to me and that's what I always say, man. It's easy to spread love.
Yeah.
It's easy to do that. It's not hard for me to, share something or support somebody or love on somebody, value somebody, encourage somebody. Is that really that hard to do? Like, enough hate is already taken in this world. So it's like, like I said, when you came up, man, it's like, let me show this dude love. I don't even know who this kid is.
Yeah.
And never would have thought, 6 years, 7 years from now, that would be on a show doing this. So.
Yeah, I know growing up, it's kind of crazy how things happen, because like when I was in high school, I was an outsider. So I came from across town in Knoxville, and I didn't know anybody. And then somebody like you, who's like from the West community, like takes me in and is like, hey, like, you're welcome here, like like you should be here. Like, we're happy to have you. It just made me feel really good and made me be more confident. And I think that's part of what you're trying to do, is inspire confidence in people.
Well, most definitely, man. I think, like I said, man, that's the easiest thing that I can do. You know what I'm saying? If people, it's like, for example, man, I was coaching WBBL, and they had kids that would come that were at risk, and I'm like, these kids they grew up kind of how I grew up, so it's not like they're any different from me, and it's like I became their favorite. You know what I'm saying? Because I showed them, like, dude, when you're here with me, like, I'm your big brother. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't have to feel like I'm not gonna accept you or be around you just because I'm the coach. Like, no, man. Like, I don't know, man. I've always been like this. I've always wanted to inspire that confidence and help people believe in themselves. Even when it was hard for me, when I couldn't believe in myself. Because it took me 8 months to grow Be Great. And I'm still growing, I'm still learning, and still, like, it's still a whole lot more that I gotta learn, and still a whole lot more that I gotta do. But it's like, so I'm still learning though, man. I don't think, like, in life, man, you don't ever stop learning.
No.
Like tonight, dude, I'm sitting there. I'm like, dude, I don't even know what I'm doing on DoorDash. I don't know how to accept this. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm just learning as the time was going on. And, like, with my learning disability, it takes me a little time to really dissect things. So it's like, at first I'm like, oh God, like, my anxiety's up and I'm a little nervous. And then after that, I was like, yo, you got this. You can't tell other people to be great if you're not being great. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, I got it.
Practice what you preach is what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So Be Great. You said the learning disability was a big struggle for you in the seizures. So Talk about your childhood a little bit and like what that was like growing up with that condition, if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely comfortable. I think one of the hardest things for me, man, growing up, honestly, and it took me a little time to accept this, but I finally accepted it. Uh, I just realized I was different, you
Hmm.
know? I just realized, like, not in a way that it's like cocky, like this dude, Chris Cook's cocky. No, it was just like I realized that it was going to be a little harder for me to understand things and, go to where I wanted to go to in college. But man, it's just like, I never forget it, man. I sat in office, and I won't say the lady's name, but I'll never forget it, man. I was in ninth grade, and the lady told my parents I wouldn't go to college.
Mm.
The lady out west.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lady out west. I'll never forget it. It was IEP, um, my IUP learning person that was helping me, help me through high school, where I got extra time on tests. I got to go to separate rooms because I would get so anxious. Like, man, I got an 18 on the ACT. The first time I took it, I got a 15. Like, you get a 12 for writing your name. And I'm explaining to her, like, yo, like, I can't take that test in a setting like that. I'm not, my mind, my time is, I'm not going to do well. And then I took it again. I got an 18, and I'm just like, man, this test is super hard. But yeah, man, I never forget that. But one thing that it was for me, I never let that motivate me. When she said that, I never let it motivate me because I always knew in my mind, I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. It was always like, I'm gonna be great, like for real. That
Yeah.
was my whole
Yeah.
that was my whole mindset. And I'm like, excuse me. And I'm like, I'm not worried about that. Like, you're saying that I'm not going to college, that's just your opinion.
You don't know me.
So no, you don't know that at all. And that's what I was feeling. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna come back and inspire people to be great. And
Yeah.
that's what I've become. And for me, people. I mean, I went to Rome State, got my associate's degree. I graduated cum laude. Then I go, after that, I spent 3 years there because I redshirted my first year, didn't play my first year. I spend time there, get my associate's degree in general studies, and then as I'm going through that stuff in Rome State, and then that thought never came up when the lady said I wasn't going to go to college. You know what I'm saying? And then Rome State. I end up going to get my bachelor's at
Mhm.
Barton College in Wilson, North Carolina. And dude, I graduated cum laude with a 3.3 GPA. So I remember I always have glimpses of that kid that was 7 years old that had that seizure that I wasn't even supposed to make. I wasn't even supposed to be alive, man. But I'm still here. My parents saved me, so I'm still here in God and my faith in God. So, man, I don't take credit for any of this stuff. But I tell you one thing though is I I have to say to anybody, man, no, dude, what people say, none of that shit matters, man. Like,
No.
it's either you, like I say all the time,
Mhm.
being great is a choice.
Yeah.
Either you want to be great or you don't.
Yeah.
You can be great or you can be ordinary. You choose. There's already a lot of ordinary people out here, and I kept telling myself I don't want to be ordinary.
Yeah, that's kind of what inspired me to start this podcast is like I looked at 2020 with everything going on and, people kind of being shut down and people not being able to do what they want to do. And I was like, am I going to use this time to do something productive or am I going to sit on my ass and watch TV all the time?
Right.
So for me, my version of being great is like, oh, let's get some people on here that are, that are cool and that can talk to people. And maybe, some of my friends that watch the show or somebody that I know can watch this and be like, hey, can be inspired and say, hey, maybe I could start my podcast or I can do my video game channel on Twitch or, like that entrepreneurial spirit I see in you. And it's kind of the same thing that I feel like I see that in you when you're out here starting your company. It's like, I'm going to build something on my own, and even if it's not monetarily successful, which this podcast isn't, hope that's a dream down the road, but like,
Right.
it doesn't, like, that doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm doing this because I love it. And I think you're doing what you do because you love it.
Right. Most definitely, man. It's definitely a passion. Don't get me wrong. Like, man, I think the coolest, like, the podcast hasn't even came yet, but it's like, man, when I'm sitting here doing interviews, like, what we're doing right now, and it's like, dude, like, this junk is dope. Like this is really like cool, man. Hearing people's stories and allowing people to be open and allowing them to be comfortable. And man, I love it, man. It's so much fun. And it's just like, dude, like I don't know, man. I just can't wait. I'm excited for this thing to be released.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited to listen to it. And if anybody wants to grab one of this merch to help support the podcast, this is the purple hoodie. I don't know if you have any left. Do you have any of these left?
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at them right now. Yeah, I got a lot left.
If you want to get the purple hoodie, go to his website. You want to give people the link and the website?
Yeah, most definitely. It's under begreatinspiration.com. And people can just go there, and then you can click through my site and check. I got a blog on there. I got my merch on there, and I got my podcast stuff coming too. And then you can actually create an account on there, so you always have an account. So yeah, but begreatinspiration.com. That's me.
Cool. I like that shirt too. I might have to get a T-shirt too for the summertime.
Yeah. I'm actually, man. I don't know if you like working out, but I'm gonna have tank tops coming too.
Oh yeah. So interesting you bring up working out, because you probably remember what I looked like in high school, and I don't look like that now.
No, I remember.
Yeah, I was about 120 pounds soaking wet, and and now I'm about 175. So that's one thing for me was a big part of being great for me, even though it's not about the way you look, it's about your heart, But at the same time, for me, one of that confidence builder for me was being able to lift and like build myself. And I think that goes in with being great, is like being able to be great physically as well as mentally, because I think those two things are tied together. Have you found that being a basketball player?
Oh, it's 90%. I say about, a lot of people say 90%, man, but I take it to another level. It's like, dude, it's 95% mental, man. Yeah. Basketball is like, dude, it's like, it is. 95% is mental for you. And just like, either you can go out there and believe that you can play this game or you don't. Mm-hmm. It's no in between. I can't sit there and say, oh, well, I think I'm going to shoot well tonight. No, I'm not going to think I am. I know I am. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's what you had to get to the point in your life where it's like, hey, I know I'm going to put on weight. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I'm going to do it. Yeah. And now you put on over 50 pounds. 60 pounds, and then it's like, I knew I could do this. Yeah. And then as time, that little confidence becomes little stones, and you just keep growing off of that confidence.
Yeah, and it took 6 years. It's not overnight. I don't want people to think this is some like Hollywood, like those people, the movie stars, they get trainers, they get nutritionists, they get all this stuff. Like if you don't have all that stuff, it's going to take you a long time to do that. This wasn't something I did overnight. And I don't think being great is something that happens overnight.
No, not at all, man. I think, like I said, man, I've been thinking about building this for 7 years. Mm-hmm. So it's like, dude, I'm coming up when I'm 28, it'd be like 10 years of thinking I'll be great. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like seeing this become what it's become and seeing the people that's been attracted to it and the people that's invested in it. It's like, oh, you just wait. You think the merch is cool? Yeah. You think this is cool? You just wait till I get right here with you. Yeah. Then the mental is gonna be really cool, man. I'm telling you. I mean, I can feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when you started this podcast. You were a little nervous at the beginning, a little doubtful, a little thoughtful, but now it's like, yo, I feel this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes. Yeah.
That's for me. It was like once I got one of the biggest things for me was TikTok. Like I would just reach out to strangers that have a decent following on TikTok, and most of them are like, yeah, let's do the podcast. So I had the first episode, I had a girl from London on. It's like, it's pretty crazy. Like if you just go out there and you put that out there that like, I want to be successful and I want to do this, the opportunities come to you if you want them, in a sense.
No, that's 100%. I mean, that's something that, don't get me wrong, man. Be great is not only me. I would not admit to that, man. I got my dad helping me, Sydney helping me. My mom helping me. It's other people that's helping this thing flow. It's not just me. It's my video guy, Christian Reyes. He does all my editing for me, does all my video work for me. And then I got Miles Stevenson. He's my designer. He built my website. And then, I got my family helping me, my little siblings, so it's like, be great, man. It's all these ideas of people having multiple ideas. I can't take credit for what B Grade's going to become and what it is right now.
Yeah.
Because if I did that, it's like I'm cheating them from what they helped me create. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, man, I'm grateful for the people that's helped me. And like you said before, like your mom invested in you and allowed you
Yes.
to do what you're doing now. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I want people to learn is it took me a lot. It took me a lot to learn this, but man, you got to be vulnerable.
Yes.
You have to be. I mean, if you don't learn that skill in life, man, it's gonna be tough. Like, you know how many people I had to ask, like, hey, what? Like, I'm even doing like little things on Instagram, like the little slide up things. Like, is this cool? That's vulnerability because it's like someone could just be like, nah, that merch is not cool. But man, it's like the responses that I've been getting back. I'm like, dude, if I wouldn't have put that on there, like, and get people's actual opinion. I mean, even if one person slides up and says, oh, dude, that's dope.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't need 200, 400 people commenting like, hey, this is cool. This is cool. No, man. As long as I got one or two people, but man, be great to team. I'll be honest with you. It's definitely a team. It's not just me.
I think part of that vulnerability goes both ways with your and I's. You know, I would call us acquaintances. We're not like really good friends or anything, but the vulnerability for me was like the vulnerability to go up to you and then you to have the vulnerability to talk to me when that might not have looked cool. You know, you talking to some scrawny little freshman kid, you were vulnerable and like, nah, I'm gonna help this kid, and I'm vulnerable when I'm coming up to you, maybe get rejected, or you know, you could have said something to hurt my feelings or whatever. Like, that's where this started, and now just because of that, now we're doing a podcast. Like,
Right.
look what that created.
Right.
You know?
Most definitely. And I think, man, like I was saying before, man, I didn't want you because, you know, like I said before, man, I want everybody when they come to me, like, it's not like, oh, dude, I gotta talk to this guy, or like, I wonder what his response is gonna be. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna be real with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. If I think, man, honestly, if I have to be fake to be around you, I don't need to be around you.
Yeah.
Like, that's my personal thought. Like, if I gotta limit myself and, you know, bring myself to a lower level just to be around you, no, man. But I could see, you know, for me, I'm great at reading energy, and I could see when you ran up like you were excited.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna shut this. I don't even know who this kid is, but I'm not gonna shut him down. You know what I'm saying? Because then I just think, man, once you know, you treat people literally how you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, I remember when I was shut down as a kid. I remember sitting in the office and the teacher told me I wasn't going to go to college. I remember my senior year when that same person sat down with me in the office and said, do you want to sign these papers and have help in college? No. I remember that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As a senior, I'm getting ready to graduate. I'm excited. And that's the news that you want to bring to me? No, I'm good. So,
I think there's a lot of people in this world that don't like people like you and I that want to inspire other people. I think there's a lot of people that want to be negative. Negative is cool. Like nowadays, especially for people our age, like being negative and like shitting on something is cool.
Yeah, it is. And the thing that makes it cool, I'm going to tell you what makes it cool, man, is social media.
Yeah.
Dude, you can go viral for being negative.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
People can say whatever they want to say. Like the girl that was talking about Jeffree Star and Kanye West. She's on TikTok talking about it, and she went viral. And it's just like, really, bro? Like, you don't even know them.
Yeah.
You have nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like the media, man. When it, like I'm sitting there, I'll be scrolling on Twitter, and I'm like, dude, you don't even know James Harden.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even know it. So what you're speculating and what you're saying is so negative. But you got 200,000 retweets.
Yeah.
People love it, man. I mean, they feed off of it. It's like I don't know what it is, man.
They're like vampires.
Literally.
They want to suck the life out of people.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, it's like putting cheese so a rat can catch it.
Yeah.
That's what the media does because they know the rat's going to come and get it. Yep. And then you're going to have multiple rats eating on the same cheese. Mm-hmm. It's like the news, man. That's why I don't watch that stuff, man.
I don't either.
Like they feed off of that fear. That's how they make money, off of
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah.
Because then if I can get multiple people talking about one subject, guess what? Us in Hollywood, we're getting paid.
Oh yeah.
So man, I don't. That's why I want people to see Be Great,
Yeah,
and
and
I
the other
want
thing I
people.
like about Be Great is like there's no division. Like it's not made for any specific kind of person. Like it's for everybody.
Yes, that's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, people are people.
Hmm.
You may have a different belief from me. You may be different than me. You may be a different skin tone than me. You may be completely not even on the same mental level as me. But we're people.
Yeah.
And that's what I want people to feel and Be Great. Like you're a human being. Like I don't look at you as, oh, you're this or oh, you're that. No, man. You're just a person to me. And that's what I want people to see and Be Great. Like you are a person.
Yeah.
Like no matter where you come from, no matter what your race, whether you come from money, you don't come from money, whether you come from this certain family, you come from that certain family. Like I want you to feel loved and see the greatness within yourself.
Yeah. Did you ever have people doubting you because of your skin color growing up in the South?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Did you ever
Most
have any?
definitely, man.
Yeah. Did you ever have that like that lady at school? You think maybe that was part of it, as she looks and sees like a young black guy and is thinking, this kid's not going to go to college.
I mean, could be. But for me, man, I never honestly, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, is I never allowed myself to be limited.
Yeah.
You can look at my skin color, you can look at all that, but guess what? You're not gonna defeat me.
No.
No. Because you know what, man? All praise to my ancestors. Because if it wasn't for me, I wouldn't even be in this position. If it wasn't for the people that came before me and sacrificed what they did,
Yeah.
could you imagine coming on a slave ship and not even like you're saying some of my ancestors that I'll never meet or never know, they jumped off the slave ship because they said, you know what, this life will be better. We can die together. And for me not to have a conscious of that, come on, man.
Yeah. So have
And
you
then
read any
people,
of that James Baldwin book that you showed me?
yeah, the fire next time.
Yeah, that was one I read, and I think that as a white guy, something that James Baldwin did for me was like I can never understand what it's like to have your ancestors be kidnapped and brought to America, right? Like that's
Yeah,
not something I can relate to. But
right.
through his writing, I can empathize with that situation. And what's so beautiful about him is like he tries, and I think he was somebody who would be okay with somebody, like me being like, I want to understand. Like I think his whole point
Most
was
definitely.
I want people to try and understand what I'm talking about as a black man. I
Most
want
definitely.
everybody, no, regardless of your skin color, regardless of how rich or poor you are, like I'm writing this so you can understand how I feel every day.
Right.
And I remember just like reading some of that book and like almost coming to tears reading about the stuff that people would say to him on the street as a little boy, you
Yeah.
know, throwing slurs at him and,
Yeah.
because he was both bisexual and a black man, getting
Right.
discrimination from all sides. Like hearing his story just made me realize what a privileged position I'm in and like that I can't take that for granted. You know what I'm saying?
Most
And like I
definitely.
have to be somebody that like you puts love out there so that everybody knows that they're accepted by me no matter what color, creed, religion, whatever it
Right.
is.
Right. And I think, man, when I read that book, man, I was actually learning myself. But one of the greatest things that you mentioned was you read the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first step into understanding because as my job as a black man, it is not my job to educate you.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So
No.
if people were to sit there and say, "Hey, Chris, what is it like to be a black man?" Are you serious? You think I'm about to really educate you on what it's like? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so for me, like, go
Yeah.
educate yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you what the problem is, man. It's K-12. The education system is so flawed in America, and it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, come on, man. Only thing we talk about is Rosa Parks. We talk about Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
And you talk about slavery. That's it.
It's
And it's
like
like, are you serious?
Like in
Like,
K-12, I remember all they talk about is like it's slavery and then it's the people that freed them, but they don't talk about jazz. They don't talk about hip hop. They
right,
don't talk about blues. They don't talk about
right,
all these art forms that African Americans created. They don't talk about,
right,
the businessmen that were the first black millionaires. They don't
right,
talk about any of the success. They only talk about the slavery.
right.
And that's not the story of black people in America to me. I don't know, I don't want to define your story or anything
Right.
like that as a white guy, but like do you think that affects how people see themselves going through that education system?
Most definitely. Because it's like this, man. It's easy for someone to read something that they can relate to. So it's like, I give you an example. It's like it's easy for you to read about Europeans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can
Yeah.
relate to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
but for me, learning something in K-12 and learning like slavery and not knowing the education of thyself that I didn't have, until I kind of like got through my senior year, I'm like, okay, where did I really come from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as you go through that time, and then the most innocent thing is a child's mind.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Imagine if our parents, it's just like this. You put it in this story right here. Imagine if our parents always taught us, hey, you're not gonna amount to anything. You're not gonna be anything. You're gonna believe that
Yeah.
to the point where it's like, hey man, like I gotta go to another level to see who I really am. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
so imagine a child just hearing that or a child hearing, hey, you're gonna be great. You're gonna be amazing
Yeah.
one day. You're gonna be awesome. Like people are gonna follow you. People are gonna love you. Then as a kid, you're like, oh well, once you don't see that love, it's like, okay, well, I know what my parents always taught me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, dude, what's going on in America, man? A lot of it happens in people's homes.
Yeah.
People can say teachers are this and that. No, man, that shit starts at home. Like a kid doesn't grow up the way that they do and become racist or become prejudiced or become I don't know, just like all these terms that we have now. Like a kid doesn't just grow up that way. It's what he's taught or
Yeah.
she's taught.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You have to hear
And
that
it's
at
like
home.
when I have my own, yeah, yeah, you definitely hear that at home. Imagine if your mother always told you this when you came to West: don't speak to black people.
Yeah.
You would have never ran up to ask me how to dunk a basketball
No.
because you would have looked and remembered, oh, mama taught me not to talk to those people.
Yeah.
Or it's to go the same for me. If my mother always taught me, don't talk to white people. Then when you would have ran up and talked to me, wanting to learn how to dunk a basketball, I would just be like, bro, who are you?
Yeah.
Because that's what I was taught. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, dude, the way that you can change this is education.
Yeah. And I
Education.
remember, I've had both of it. So this is a little family history for me. Is like on one side, it's very country people. And like, I
Yeah.
remember one time my grandfather on one side of my family said, marry a wasp. I don't know if you know what a wasp is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so that's kind of racist or super racist, right?
Yeah.
And then I got my mom's side of the family where, my grandfather was in the army. And so when she was a little kid, the 17-year-old son of the family next door who was black, when my grandmother had my uncle, the black teenage son came and watched the two young daughters.
Right.
So it's like on one side I've got like, you're supposed to accept and love everybody and it doesn't matter your skin color. And then on the other side, it's like, country people who are like only date wasps and only be, with your own kind and that sort of thing. But for me, both of my parents, my dad's not like that.
Yeah.
So he was like, he and my mom both instilled in me that it doesn't matter, anything about you except are you a kind person and do you love other people, And so I'm lucky because it could have gone either way. I think about that all the time. Like, what if my dad had been racist? Like, how would I have turned out,
Right. Right. Most definitely. And I think, man, like the key thing that we got to kind of push a little harder is higher education.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, but you got to get it to the point where it's like people can actually go. Like, dude, you can't even go to, I mean, it's so hard to go to college right now. Like, you're going in debt.
Yeah.
Unless you're just one of those kids that's got like a 36, like they're paying you to come to their school.
Yeah.
Most of us, man, we're gonna pay. You know what I'm saying? Like even I had
$40,000 a year.
Yeah. So it's just like,
Yeah.
so here's what I'm saying though. If you go to the higher education route and you start sending kids to college, it's like, hey, the kid that grew up in Blount County or the kid that grew up in East Knoxville, guess what? They're going to meet each other at some point on that campus.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll let that mental stimulation allows itself to get challenged.
Yep.
Oh man, I've never seen a kid like that before. I've never seen that kind before because I've always been in East Knoxville. I've always been in Blount County. I've never seen another person of a different race.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So education, higher education needs to be the push, but it's got to be a way that people can actually go to college.
Yeah, and so
even if you go for 2 months, or you go for a month, you don't have to. I'm not saying that college is the only way that you can be successful or get that. That's not what I'm saying. So, folks, if you're listening, I'm not just pushing college education, but it's a key thing for us to grow as Americans is education and higher education. I don't care if you go for a week and say, hey, this is not for me. Guess how many people you're going to really see in that week?
You're going to see a new group of people. And I think that, you're hitting on something that really hits home is like going back to what you said earlier. If we did this in high school, we wouldn't have to worry about trying to get kids into college.
Exactly. But here's the thing, man. Here's the thing is a lot of these kids, you think about the kids in West Knoxville, you think about the kids in East Knoxville. Most of the kids that they're going to school with, they're the same race as them.
Yeah. West is
Yeah, most definitely, because you got kids from Lonsdale, you got kids from East Knoxville that want to go there. You got yourself, you got people from West Knoxville. Then once you start throwing, I'm going to tell you what the problem is. For me personally, the problem is once you throw in all these private schools.
Yep.
Yeah. So you mean to tell me as a kid from East Knoxville, in order for me, because I know I can't afford to go to Webb, I can't afford to go to Catholic, but I got to work my butt off to get a scholarship to go to that school. Really?
Yeah. It's exclusion, man. It's rich people saying you're not welcome here.
Most definitely.
Our kids are better than your kids, so they're going to go here.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
That's all it is. And that's the education problem. Why do we even have private schools, man? Kids need to be going to school with other kids. They just do so they can see other races. They can see they can see how other people work, how other people think, how they operate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, hey, if you go from K-12, if you go from, like I said, K-12, and you only go to a private school and you see the same race, the same teachers, the same everything. Dude, you got some schools where they're in the same vicinity. They don't ever leave that area.
Yeah. You're exactly
there's a school in Wilson, North Carolina. K through 12 is on the same campus.
Yep. Elementary school, middle school, high school, all next to each other.
Yes.
Yep.
So your kindergarten teacher, you can always go back and see them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or your fifth grade teacher, you can always go back and see your middle school teacher. And I think personally, honestly, man, private school is the killer.
And charter schools as well. It's kind of a
charter schools
is
horrible.
Yeah, because it's
horrible.
Once again, it's like, and sometimes it's not even about just race. It's also about class. Like it's like charter schools. It's like, okay, the kids that have the better opportunities to do those ACT prep courses, the kids that have tutors, the kids that have this, then they're the ones that get into the charter schools. And then it's all the kids that are high achievers because they have these resources. And now all the kids that have the same resources are together. But what about that mentoring aspect? Why don't we put all the kids together so we can have the kids that are ahead help the kids that are behind, like be great. Like you got to go out here and grind for 8 years to start your own company to do something that's common sense.
Right.
And that's what's wrong with the education system is like somebody like you has to come out here and say, I'm going to be great and do this myself.
Yeah, most definitely. And like I said, shout out to my team and the people that's helping me do this. But man, you're definitely right though, man. It's just like you were saying, man, the education system and people having to go through all this just to get to their point where they're like, okay, now I can go do what I've always wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, I got to go through all of this. And that's why, man, I tell you one thing, man. That's what I love about West.
Yes.
It's just so, I don't know, like, I could be wrong and people can say that I'm wrong, but West is the most diverse school in Knox County.
100%.
Most diverse. Like,
100%.
you're going to see, like, one thing that was so cool to me, though, man, is I never forget this, man, is I met a girl named Minnie, and she was a foreign exchange student.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, for me, I'm like, shout out to Minnie. She lives in Spain now. But hopefully I have to send her this because I'm talking about you, Minnie. But what was so cool for me is like, yo, she's all the way from Spain. She's a foreign exchange student. You mean to tell me she's going to West High School in Knoxville, Tennessee? This is for me. I didn't know anything about foreign exchange. I didn't know anything about that. But it's just like she got to come to an environment that's so diverse in Spain. And it's as simple as that, like putting her in that element.
Yeah.
And now me and Minnie are friends for life. Like I literally just talked to her like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago.
Yeah, for me it was a girl. I cannot remember her name, but she ran track with me and she was German.
Yeah.
And so there was a German girl and I got to talk to her about Germany and stuff. But like that just shows you, and West has kids from, if you don't know Knoxville, but there's this neighborhood called Sequoia Hills, which is all the millionaires. And it's got the millionaires' kids, and then it's also got, Lonsdale, which is a lot of government housing and a lot of people that are on food stamps. And so you have everyone from all socioeconomic backgrounds all in the same place. And it's like this beautiful little melting pot right in the middle of Knoxville. And everybody, I remember I am from Central, so that's like Fountain City. And so everybody looked at me like, oh, you going to the ghetto school. Everybody would look at me going, oh, you're going to the ghetto school. And I was like, well, no, there's everybody there. And there's like, yeah, but all the East Knoxville kids that are smart get busted in. It was like saying this racist shit just because, like, in Fountain City, everybody looks the same.
Exactly. So if you don't ever leave that environment, say your father owns, just say this, give you a little story. Your father owns a tire shop in Fountain City. Okay, for the listeners, Fountain City is like about 20 minutes away from West High School, which is West High School is kind of on the west side of Sutherland Avenue for anybody that's listening. And so imagine your father owning a tire shop in Fountain City. You grew up around that. You're always going to be around that. And you're like, oh, dude, I'm just going to run Dad's tire shop one day.
Yeah.
So you don't ever leave Fountain City. You move right down the road from where your parents live.
Mm-hmm.
You go to your mom and dad's all the time. You see the same folks. And then your tire shop, the same people come in that was coming in when your father was there running the same shop.
Yep.
So you don't ever see a different reality of life. You don't travel. You don't go anywhere. All your money, you just hoard it and stack it or invest it. So you don't take vacations. You don't get to see other things. You know what I'm saying? Just like my pops always taught me to save. He never traveled. my mom and dad never traveled. So I never got to see anything. I didn't leave the country. I literally stayed in my little circle where I felt so comfortable.
Mm.
That's what it comes down to, man.
Yeah.
It's all about people staying in their comfort zones. And when you're in that comfortable zone, like who's going to tell you anything different? And that's what I'm saying. Once you go to college, you get that mental stimulation and people challenge you.
Yes.
Hey, why do you think that way? Or Chris, why do you think that way? Why are you thinking that way? What makes you think the way that you think, and why do you think that way? It's just like, one of my teachers at Rome State, man, great guy. I loved him. Can't remember his name for nothing. And he was my math teacher. I took him for stats. And I always struggled with math. It was always hard for me. Mm-hmm. But one thing that he really did was I could feel his love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was a white guy, white teacher, and I'm a black student. And, I kept telling him, like, hey, I'm really, really struggling in this class. And he's like, come to my office hours, let's work. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, dude, for me, it's like, come on, man. If this guy doesn't even know me, and he's from Rome County, he lives in Rome County. If this guy can accept me, come on now.
Yeah, why can't you? And you live next door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
So,
like picking something out that you said there that I really like was getting out of your comfort zone, because I found that growth always happens when you're outside of that. So for me in college, to bring it to the personal experience of that would be taking philosophy courses instead of healthcare courses. So I always had this idea that I was going to be a doctor or I was going to be a physical therapist. That was always the path for me. And that's always what, and that, listen, I let other people define that. That was what my mom told me. So I was going to do what my mom told me. I wasn't going to define it for myself. I was going to do what everybody else told me was the right thing to do. So I did that. And then I took one philosophy class and I fell in love with it. And I ended up minoring in it. And I realized, oh, wait, my standardized test scores have been telling me since I was 15 that my skills are reading, writing, and comprehension. Like science and math are my weak points. So why would I focus on my weakness? Why would I not focus on my strengths? So then I looked into like perhaps being a lawyer or a psychologist, because those things are all about emotional communication, which is a strong point for me, and then written communication, which is a strong point for me. So why wouldn't I do something that brings about like my skills, which is interpersonal stuff? That's what I'm good at. So why wouldn't I focus on my skills? And like in K through 12, they just hammer into you science, math, like that's all it's about. There's nothing about philosophy in any of that. And philosophy really frees people because it's not about race, it's about ideas and it's about humanity, and it's about like, it's not about what culture you're from. It's about like what the world is. And they don't teach you about that. They just say you have to be a doctor or a lawyer or a scientist or this or that. And there's only one road to success. And if you don't get on it, you're going to be poor. That's what they drill into you over and over again. You got to be a doctor. You got to do this. And like I think that in college, you get to define your own success and find your strong points. Did you find that you did that in college too?
most definitely, man. I think what they try to push the most is the American dream.
Yeah.
I want you to believe that, hey, if I become a doctor, I'll become a lawyer. I'm gonna have the white picket fence, and I'm gonna live in the nicest neighborhoods, and I'm gonna do this. But you don't realize what your mental is gonna have to go through to get to that point. And shout out to everybody that's a doctor or a lawyer. Like that's a great accomplishment. But like you sit here and you bring one of them on here and you say, hey, what did you have to go through to get that degree? Was it kind of worth it or was it not? But here's the thing, man, is philosophy is one of the most beautiful things that there is. And it's like the reason why they don't teach you that because it makes you think a different way.
Yep.
If I can control someone to think a certain way,
Yep.
that's what I control their mind, their body, and their soul.
Yep.
If I can sit here and say, hey Hayden, guess what? You think this is gonna be something?
And I'd be
And
like,
I've already got you thinking, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But if I can say it in a negative way, or not just in a negative way, but I can say it in a positive way, hey, do you think Hayden's happy hour is going to be something great? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I'm challenging you. Now
Yeah.
I'm making you think. And then I'm hitting all your circuits because then your mind's going to think. Then guess what? Then your body's going to think. And then your soul's going to think. And then you're going to start acting on that action. That Hayden's happy hour is going to be great.
Yep. And it's about that connection. And so something in philosophy that I learned is like ideology, right? So they want to push the ideology of the American dream. And it's like that's the only route to success is this ideology, and it's false. It's a smoke and mirrors. It's completely fake. Like you can be successful in a million different ways. And because of the internet, people are finding that out and all this is crumbling and people are scared. Like, I think that's why they're pushing like race so hard right now. Like you need to be divided by races because they're afraid that we're going to figure out if we work together, we're going to be better than them. We're going to be great on our own. We don't need all these institutions that have put people down for all these years.
Because that's what the institutions were built on. They were built on ideas. And then they took it to another level and they said, how do we control these people in this idea?
Yep.
And that's why we have a capitalist America. Because the founding fathers, they were about capitalism.
Yep.
How can we put profits over people instead of putting people over profits? This is how we're going to do this. And that's why America is built on capitalism. It's all about making money.
But see, that's called discursive thinking, and we don't like that in K through 12. You can't be thinking like that.
No, not at all. But I know I can think like this on, Hayden's happy hour. 'Cause
Oh
I'm a
yeah, man.
free
This is
thinker.
this is all about free speech. And I
Yeah.
think we got to remember. I love in the Bible where it says, burn away the chaff, but keep the wheat. Like I love that we have a country where we can say and think whatever we want, and we don't need to get rid of that in the process of switching over to making people more successful and maybe helping people out a little more. We don't need to lose that freedom too. You
Right.
know.
Well, here's the thing that's happening though, is I tell you what's happening is the people that are speaking the truth are getting censored.
Yep. Like somebody like Joe Rogan or somebody like James
Yeah.
Baldwin, like he gets like James
Yeah.
Baldwin's books, they never talk about James Baldwin.
No, why would you? Because it's the truth.
Yeah. They don't talk about Malcolm X.
No, for what? Why would you talk about Malcolm X and the truth and the things that he tried to establish? They don't even talk about the Black Panthers. They don't talk about Nat Turner. They don't talk about
Nope.
Marcus Garvey. They don't talk about all the great revolutionaries that helped this country become what it was. America was built on the backs of Black people.
Yep.
And people can say what they want to say. You can disagree. Whoever's watching this show, you can completely disagree. The place that you're probably working in right now and the railroads that you're working on or the buses that you're taking, or this light bulb that's coming out of this, it was not created by Thomas Edison.
Nope.
I want people to remember that. It was created by a Black man, but Thomas Edison took it over and patented it. And then you got this whole thing that Thomas Edison made the light bulb. No, he didn't.
No.
But people don't take the time to study history.
Nope.
And that's the thing, Hayden. Like you said, if that history is taught in school, oh man. No,
Yeah.
Thomas Edison, he did a light bulb. Leave it at that. You don't question it.
Nope. But that's bullshit. I mean, what he did was he ran a factory where he paid a bunch of people slave wages to make inventions, and then he took credit for them. He didn't build shit.
No, he didn't. Not at all.
He was just a capitalist, like you said. And I'm not out here to completely demonize capitalism. Like I think there's a place where we could have a social welfare system that works for everybody and also have people make money doing it. Like I'm not out here, let's overthrow everything, let's overthrow the government. I'm not one of these crazy people that's like that. But we got to teach people the truth, but the truth is dangerous. Yeah. It's like Jesus. He got killed for the truth.
Right.
But
here's the thing though, would you rather not die for the truth? Because it's going to set people free. Energy never dies.
No.
You can say what you want. The energy never dies. Guess what? Hey, we all gonna die one day. But if like Tupac said, everything that comes out of my mouth, I want it to be the truth.
Yep.
What the hell am I gaining, or what am I getting out of life if I lie to you and not be real? What do I get out of that? Me feeling better and sleeping better at night? For me personally, I don't get that. I'd rather be truthful with you, be honest with you, and then leave it at that. Whether you accept that truth or you don't, that's on you. But I know that for me, I'm living in my truth.
Yeah. And what I like is when you said, look, Hayden, it's not like I like that you had the boldness to say, look, it's not my job to educate white people about what it's like for me. Like somebody that was like weak in doing this interview would have been like, oh, I would have been taken aback by that. But here I'm just looking at you and I'm looking at you with admiration and being like, wow, Chris respects me. Because he's willing to say the truth to me, even if it may not, you don't know me as well as you thought. So it's like, maybe I wouldn't like that, but you don't care. And I respect that about you. It's like, you got to have mutual respect if you're going to have real conversation.
Exactly. But here's the greatest thing though, is you took a further step that a lot of people are not willing to take. You said you read the book. One of the most prolific, one of the most amazing writers to ever touch on this earth, James Baldwin.
Yeah.
And you read his content. So for that's why I was like, dude, I can give you that respect. Like you actually took the time to educate yourself, and not just in that, like you asking me questions and speaking about it and saying like, yo, like I read it. That's the first step into becoming growth.
Yes.
Is when you have to read other people's history. Yeah. We can't just keep walking around and not just believe in what we've been taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's stuff that I was learning in the Malcolm X book when I was reading. I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know that. Yeah. It's like, whoa, like, no, Malcolm X is my favorite. If anybody's listening, Malcolm X is my guy.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I think one of the things that people focus on, you talked about Tupac earlier. what the popular institutions, all they focus on is look at Martin Luther King, dead. Look at Tupac, dead. Look at James Baldwin, dead. Like they just want to focus on their death. Like it's all about killing the truth.
Right.
And it's not just metaphorical, like it's literal. People literally kill the truth. Like somebody got on a building and killed the truth when they shot Martin Luther King in Memphis. Like they were not just metaphorically, they were literally killing the truth because they couldn't handle the fact that he was bold enough to say, I'm here for these people. I love you, white people. I love you, but I'm here for these people. Right. You know, like that's not easy to digest for some people that have this racist ideology. And so they had to kill it because they can't handle it.
But here's the thing, like I said, energy never dies. They didn't kill anything because look, in 2021, we're still talking about Martin Luther King.
Yep.
People are still listening to Tupac music. People are still learning about Malcolm X.
Oh, yeah.
You guys live in the 60s. But one thing that a lot of people don't understand is when you look up these pictures of these people, they were in the like 1960s. That's not that long ago.
No.
But here's the thing, what they created, man, they give you a picture as black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, whoa, that was a long time ago. No, in reality, dude, 1960, what was it, 69 or 64 was the first time women could vote. That's not that long ago, man.
Yeah.
That's only about 47, 48 years ago. That's not long at all.
Yeah, black people, I mean, there's less, black people have been able to vote a quarter of the time they've been in America.
Yeah. It's all about control.
Yeah.
And if you can control the voices of American people, you control the whole narrative.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it. We got a two-party system.
Yeah, exactly.
You serious?
You mean
call this place the United States?
Mm-hmm.
You call this, I call it America to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a free thinker. Where are we united? If you got two different people and then you got the independent free thinkers like me, just out in the open.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me there was a 4 million difference between Trump and Biden in this race? So it's only 4 million of us that are really just like a free thinker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or independent. It's like, damn, like that's crazy. This two-party system, man, and not to get into politics and all that, but like, man, it's dangerous, man.
Well, if you get lost in it, it's dangerous.
Yeah, but what they do, Hayden, is they control the narrative.
Yep.
They control it. Like, okay, this is what we do. We keep the masses of people divided. We win every time.
Yeah.
It's called divide and conquer.
Lincoln talked about it all the way back in 1865. A house divided cannot stand.
It won't. And speaking of Martin Luther King, man, last thing he said before he died, he said, what I did with integration was the worst thing I ever did. I put my people in a burning house. That's a quote from him.
Yeah.
Because he knew that integrating black people and white people would be dangerous.
Yeah, and it has been.
And it has been. But we're going to make change. That's my goal and my mission to be great is making change. And I believe I can do it. And I'm already doing it now, and not in a cocky sense, but I am doing it now, and I'm grateful for it.
And for me, what I can do is like, I want to talk to people like you who are willing to chat with me and like can talk openly about these issues and realize that it's not adversarial. Like your success is not taken away from my success. I think that's the attitude that a lot of people have is like, well, if we let everybody be successful, then nobody's going to be successful, and people are afraid. And they want people to be afraid. But like your success doesn't take away from my success at all.
And I never would want it to be. That's not the type of person I am. I think, I'm reading a book. Matter of fact, speaking of success, I'm reading a book called The Science of Success. Mm-hmm. And he just talks about we got to get out of the competition mindset. I'm not competing with Hayden. Hayden's not competing with Chris.
That's exactly
We're being two people that are being creative.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, man, the way that I'm gonna have to share that book with you. I know where your mom lives. I just put it in your mailbox. But I'm gonna have to share that with you, man. That book is really good. But he talks about, like I said, us becoming creators instead of us competing with one another. We can both become wealthy and rich and share opportunities and help people.
And for me, like before we get to the end stage of our success, we're already helping each other.
Exactly.
Looking here and saying, I'm going to put you up on my social media. I'm going to have you on my podcast. Like, let's share the
Right.
wealth. Like, we might not be wealthy in the sense of money, but I think you and I both realize that what makes us wealthy is the fact that we have supportive family members. We have lots of friends. We got lots of love. Like, that's what it's about to me.
Yeah. Most definitely. And I think, man, one of the key things is, man, is wisdom is the greatest thing that you can have. But here's the thing that takes you to a whole nother level. It's wisdom with action. When you have the wisdom of someone giving you the wisdom, it's just like someone helping you. I mean, like Steve Jobs building this Apple, all these Apple products. He had the wisdom, but he applied the action to it. And now you look at Apple. Steve Jobs is not with us anymore. Rest in peace. But look at it. Like I got an Apple computer. I got an Apple AirPods. I got, you know what I'm saying? I got an iPhone. So it's
Yeah.
like his wisdom that he gained, he applied it into knowledge
Yep.
and applied that knowledge into power.
Yeah.
And once you do that and you put all three of those together, knowledge, power, and wisdom
Yep.
equals action. So it's like, yeah, we may not be wealthy. I may not be able to donate $10,000 right now, but guess what? I can give you some wisdom, and then
Yeah.
it's up to you whether you apply it or not.
And it's like this podcast for me is like I read all these books on philosophy, and for me it's like how can I pay that forward by letting my little cousin listen to me talk about these books that he's never read, or and maybe he'll read them himself and learn something I didn't learn. It's like we got to share this knowledge, and then for me a lot of it comes from my faith. So I can't believe this. We've been going an hour and 10 minutes, and I want to finish up with faith, because I know that your faith is something that's important to you. So I want you to talk about like what does your faith and your relationship with God mean to you, and how is that part of Be Great?
First and foremost, uh, faith is the ultimate thing that I have in my life, and I will always have. And my faith in God, man, my relationship started. I really took it really, really serious in high school. And my faith became my ultimate supreme thing that what I wanted to be. But I am a follower of Christ. I am that. And I would say, man, I don't want to put myself in the religion category because I'm more spiritual than I am religion, because I feel like religion can be dangerous. So I want people to know that I'm super spiritual. I believe in my ancestors. I talk to my ancestors. I believe, so my faith in God is number one, and always will be. And I'm grateful for the things that God has blessed me with, and opportunities, and to be on shows like this and being, you wearing my merch is freaking dope, So it's just like all this happened. All that happened was my faith in God, man. If I would have, I don't know where I would be if it
Yeah.
wasn't for my faith in God. I don't think I would be the person I am and where I am if it wasn't for God. So I love one of the quotes in the Bible. It says, Proverbs 3:5 is my favorite verse. It says, "Trust in the Lord and lean not into your own understanding." So God is telling me right there, trust in Him. Don't lean on your own understanding because you're going to fail.
Yeah.
But if you trust in Him, you're going to be just fine. And another one that I love is Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else,
Mm-hmm.
and you won't be led astray.
Yep.
So I feel like if I can trust in the Lord and I can guard my heart, God's got me.
Yeah, for me, it's the same for me. I wouldn't be the man I am without my family and the people I came from, and also the fact that I have like God to help me with the Holy Spirit, like guiding me through this life. And like the verse that I always go back to is, "Worry not for tomorrow. Consider the lilies of the field. They neither toil nor reap nor sow. Yet Solomon in all of his glory was not arrayed like one of these. How much more are you than a lily, that your God will not provide you with your daily bread and give you what you need to get through the day?" Like for me, when I look at that verse, it's like,
that's Matthew 6:33 through 34, right?
yeah, And then when you look at that, it's Jesus saying to you, look, I've got you. I'm already in your corner.
Most definitely.
You know, you don't have to worry about whether you're going to eat tomorrow, because that's for me to worry about. Like, you worry about what I'm telling you to do today.
Yes.
You know, and so for me, when I look at you, I see God in you. Like, I can see it. I can see the reflection of God looking back at me when I look at you, and I see you talk to you. Like, I can hear it in your voice when you get passionate about Be Great. Like, that's you following God. Like, I can tell you're passionate about it because that's you following God, and this is what God wants you to do. And like that reflection that I see in you, I hope you see back in me, because I want to give that love of God to you and encourage you forward like you encouraged me, you know, to be great and dunk a basketball. Like, it's all full circle, you know, it's all full circle in here.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And I definitely do. And like, man, I just appreciate, you know, like all glory to God. I don't take credit for any our relationship or what it's become. You know, it's just it was meant to be. You know, like something my parents always taught me. Whatever is meant to be is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was meant to be. Like 7 years later,
Mm-hmm.
what was it? 14? I graduated in 14. Yeah.
Yeah, 7 years later.
Jesus.
Almost 8.
Oh man, time needs to slow down.
We're old now.
Yeah, I'm getting up there, man. I'll be 26 June 8th. So
yeah, I'm on my way to 24. So
yeah, so man, I'm definitely thankful for this, and thank you for having me on here and just be able to come on here and talk about Be Great and tell my story. And you know, it's been amazing actually, you know, to hear that. I think one of the most beautiful things I can take from this whole conversation, and me and you talking, because it's just a conversation, is you took the time to educate yourself on the history of Black people, you know? And I think from this whole thing that I can take, man, that is so beautiful. And
well, I think it's part of like your duty as an American to learn your own history, and that's part of my history too. It's not just your history, it's my history, and I got to own it.
Right.
You know, even the ugly parts, I got to own that shit, you know, because if you don't own it, it's going to eat you alive.
Most definitely. But look at you now, educating yourself, having a Black man on your podcast, which is sick. And I'm Black and I'm proud and I stand in my truth.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. You inspire me, and I love what you're doing. I love the mission. I hope you'll come back in a few months and we can get an update on Be Great, and we can talk more about anything you want to talk about. I'd love to chat with you after your podcast gets going. And if there's ever a spot for me and you need a guest, I'm always there. Anything you need from me, you can always hit me up. I'm in your corner.
Most definitely, man. I mean, we can set a date now. Just when we get closer to that date, just remind me. Because if I don't put it in my phone or Sydney doesn't remind me, I'll forget all about it. And then you'd be like, hey, man, you know we're doing this tonight at 5. And I'm like, oh, work. I don't get off work till 6. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
man, I would love to come back on here and update you on anything, you know? Yeah,
cool,
that'd be super cool. And just vice versa, man. Whatever you need, whatever support, or you know, whatever you want to, you got my number. You got me. You can always call me if you ever want to talk or reach out or whatever. I'm not one of those people like, if I don't answer right then, it's just like when I tell my nana, I'm like, yo, like, if I don't answer right now, just give me a little time. I'm gonna call you back. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna forget about you. So yeah, man, you reach out anytime, man. It's all love, man. No worries.
It's all love from me too, brother. I really, you know, I love that we're had this conversation. I feel grateful that you took the time to come on the show.
Most definitely, man. I appreciate you.
All right, sayonara, everybody. Peace.
Peace.